Terrific. It does show us live on our YouTube and our Facebook platforms. So I do want to double check that that's valid, that people can see us and hear us before we really get this thing kicked off.
Sounds good. It's always that little moment of like, where are the people? Can they see us? Can they hear us? Everyone's done it. That, those first few minutes of every live thing I've ever been on or watched. That awkward couple of seconds at the beginning. Are you there?
Yeah. Can anyone hear me? Is anyone out there? We're pulling the Titanic this morning, right? I'm already starting to see some folks are joining us on here. I haven't personally gotten the alert. So as I'm pulling this ticker off on the bottom, hopefully it's starting to alert folks that we are live. We'll go ahead and start with the housekeeping, which generally eats into our time just a little bit so we can maximize the full time that we have viewers with us. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever it is that you might be tuned into our broadcast. I want to officially thank you for being a part of our conversation today. Now, if you are a first-time viewer, you've not been to our page before, I am our host for today's segment and almost all live broadcast segments. I am Juliette Abdel, the Westminster Chamber President and CEO. And these videos are always streamed to you virtually as a way for you to learn more about the businesses in or around our community, not just the branding, but the people that are behind it, which generally drive how they operate, what initiatives they take on, and why they function the way they function. Now, Mondays, we bring to you updates from our city. Generally, it's our city councilors, mayor, or other elected officials that give you updates on what's going on in our community. Wednesdays are reserved for this network welcome. And then Fridays, once a month, are for Jefferson County Commissioners to give you an update on all things going on our county side. So I encourage you to find the video section here on our Facebook page or YouTube channel, Pops and Popcorn, and choose this over your Netflix on a weekend. Get caught up on all things in our community. The other way that you can do us a huge favor is by engaging with us on this video. Now, you can react to the video, and I always encourage you to either give us a thumbs up, a heart. Even if you give me the angry emoji, I at least know that you heard me in some capacity, whether or not you agreed with what we're saying. But that is a great way for us to see who's engaged with us and allows us to also be able to give you that shout out for taking the time to be on here with us. Outside of reacting to the video, you can, of course, quickly comment. You can comment in the video section, whether you're watching this on YouTube or viewing it on Facebook. We'll be able to still see your comment come through. That if it's a comment, we'll pull that at the very start. If it's a question, then we'll try and weave it into our conversation to allow for us to kind of circle back and put it in the queue. So know that if you ask a question, we're not ignoring. If we're continuing our thoughts, we'll come back to you when there is a pause, so we can pull that up on our screen for our guests to be able to view it. And then the last ask that I have of you is to hit the share button on this video so others in your network can see that we're live, can also begin to engage with us, or maybe come back to us in the future. And with that, I want to share my excitement in having one of our newer partners, Reading Partners, with us here onto our broadcast. Thank you so much, Melissa, for being on here with me.
I am very excited for the invite. Thank you so much. We're very proud to be members of the Chamber.
Absolutely. Well, Melissa, we already have a quick comment that's come to us from one of our newer members who's sharing that this is the very first meeting that they're hopping into as a new member. So hello, Lene. Melissa and I are very excited to see you on here, and thank you for engaging with us and learning more about a fellow peer of yours. Now, let's just jump right into this, Melissa. Reading Partners is probably not a brand that too many people know of. Let's familiarize them with who your organization is or what you all are all about.
Got it. Yeah. So my name is Melissa Monforti. Some people don't know how to say that. Melissa Monforti. I'm the executive director of Reading Partners Colorado. And Reading Partners is a national organization, and Colorado is one of our regions that we serve. So we joined the Chamber because we are serving in 4 districts here in Colorado, and one of them is Westminster Public Schools. I'm really excited to be part of that community. And actually, probably a number of your listeners do know about us because we have a pretty strong presence in 2 of your elementary schools. So big shout outs to Sherylwood Elementary School. Hi, everybody on summer break. And also Harris Park Elementary, where we are really excited to be part of those communities.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to give a quick shout out to our Senator Rachel Zenzinger, who is on the broadcast tuned in with us. I know she is heavily engaged in all things education, having been a part of her local community in Arvada and others. So thank you
So
for
glad
being on here. Yes, and I bet that they do butcher your name. When I first saw it, I thought of Mumfort and not Mumforty. So that probably people end up losing the last letter in there and mess that up along the way. So have you been in the capacity, and I'm assuming that you are the current executive director or president, how long have you been in that role with them?
Well, I'm a newbie too. So I am 5 months in the role. And in these first few months, it's been an incredible journey of getting to know all of our stakeholders. So some people at the state level, which is great. Good to know that there's it's one of our reps on the call today, and then also people at the Colorado Department of Education, so the state level of education, but especially the really sweet relationships with the districts. So our relationships with the schools at Westminster, for example, we have really good relationships with our administration and teachers there to serve the students that we're working with.
Absolutely. And when we talk about 5 months being new in the role with Reading Partners, I can't imagine that you're new to the industry in 5 months. So can you share about how your background led you to taking on this role with Reading Partners?
Yeah, well, I don't want to make it too much about myself, but yeah, I've been in the nonprofit sector for over 20 years. And in leadership roles, various types of leadership roles. The education sector is excitingly new to me, but the nonprofit sector is a familiar space.
Yeah. And how has that been? I guess, your experience of nonprofit parlays presently into the role that you have, but what are some of those challenges that you've seen in taking on this role, or a learning curve perhaps that you may not have been aware of when you first started with them?
Yeah, so Reading Partners has been in Colorado for over 10 years. So it's a big, long history of us being present and serving our communities here. So lots of excellent history for me to learn from. And then our staff on who I had to get the pleasure of working with an amazing team that is so knowledgeable and so dedicated to this mission. So I've really just been learning from the team locally, and then also because we're a national organization and we serve all over the country. I also have colleagues who've been with the organization in various capacities across the country. So it's a lot of learning in these first couple of months, and then also just making those contacts and reaching out to stakeholders. So that's been my learning so far. I am amazed at the dedication in the education sector. We do sometimes hear a lot of the drama that happens in the education sector. And I want to just tell you, there's also the day-to-day, which is full of heart and full of care. So making sure that we bring that to the surface today too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, amplifying that positive message behind it all, because there are definitely significant, impactful work that's being done, and sometimes the negatives might be overheard or projected a lot more than that positivity. So I love that you're bringing in that thought into our conversation. We've got Andrea and Jamie that have also tuned in with us. Thank you to you both for engaging onto our broadcast. I have Melissa with us. She is the executive director for Reading Partners. So if any of you are joining us later on and we're no longer live, I want to request that you give us a hashtag replay in the comment section, especially if you make a comment or question, so we can easily find that with you. And of course, we appreciate you hopping on here, providing your comments, providing some input, and engaging with us along the way. So Melissa, I know I've jumped back and forth, and I appreciate you following with me on this random trajectory, that we're throwing out there. But we shared that you are presently in a couple of schools, at least in our area, the couple of schools that you are here in Westminster or around our area that's here. How have you grown that footprint, or what are ways that you're trying to continue to grow in our area schools?
Yeah, so we serve 11 schools in Denver Metro in 4 different districts. So yeah, let me just kind of zoom out a little bit. I realize I really haven't talked much about what Reading Partners actually does. So the world of literacy is sometimes very confusing to people. I just want to, ground this conversation in the fact that everyone really agrees that reading is important. So that is really a great ground to start with, because we do see lots of places where lots of people disagree. Here's a place where we really all do agree. Everyone realizes reading is important. even more than important, it's necessary, really. It's an important part of how we live our lives. We can't do very much if we don't have the basic skills of literacy. And beyond proficiency, what we're really hoping for is that people read well, read critically, and read for the joy of reading. Because the more we read, the more we learn, and that's throughout life. So Reading Partners is a solution to the issue that not every child has equal access to the building the skill of reading. So we function in Title I schools, where, if you're not familiar with what Title I means, but these are schools that generally are serving populations that have had barriers to their ability to advance, so mostly economically. And so it shouldn't really matter where you're born, if you're born into one zip code or another, but that you would be able to have, you'd be able to make sure that your children have access to the full breadth of reading skills. So that's where we come in. So Reading Partners is one of the solutions to that issue. And if you're not familiar with the issue, truly, really is an issue right now. There's like two-thirds is the national number of fourth graders in the country. 2/3 of fourth graders are reading below grade level. So this is a serious crisis when we think about that. And of course, we all know COVID interrupted learning, and also we recognize that there are certain populations and groups that are misrepresented as not reading at grade level, not by any fault of their own, but because we live in a world of inequities. So we're addressing those things by making sure we're in the schools, getting children who are between kindergarten and fourth grade up to grade level by the time they are in fourth grade. So it's a way that we can, really unify behind making sure we're getting all those kids who deserve it the ability.
Well, and what you're sharing is in giving them the access to be able to better their literacy skills and move forward in the community. And I love that. That sends such a powerful message to those parents and those kids that are out there. We've got a lot of people that have hopped in with us. Our current board chairman, Parker Brown, giving us a quick good morning.
Hello.
Message. Hello to Parker. And it looks like Dave's tuned in with us, as Lene was on our YouTube platform. So thank you both for engaging with us on another avenue that you can with us as well. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
I know. So many great people that are joining us today. And I think it just speaks to the volume of people that are interested in this topic. I also see our past chairman, Brian Head, is on here as well, who's a champion for education in our community. We have touched on a number of things. We shared a little bit about your role with this organization for around 5 months. That Reading Partners is a national organization that's got those local chapters in various communities, including Colorado, that were here in and around in our area, just a little over that 10 mark. I believe you shared 11 different schools in the metro Denver area, 2 of which Westminster. And you've also moved us into some of those services that you offer, which is really to try and raise the bar on literacy and provide that equal access for folks to be able to better their ability to learn and interpret the material. And I think those stats that you shared were very strong stats that people should be aware of, and that and I've tried to capture those. You were sharing them into the chat. 2/3 of those kiddos that are reading below their grade level, and that your focus really is on this opportunity to have reading literacy for all. So let's move into some of the challenges. And I know you spoke to this briefly with COVID being probably a factor in that statistic that we're seeing. But what are some of the challenges that you are seeing in providing a service like this, or in trying to reach those folks that may not have access to it?
Sure. Yeah, so let me explain the model a little bit so that will give you some context. So we are a community-based model. And so what that means is that we are motivating and empowering community volunteers to be the tutors, to offer one-on-one instruction in reading. So that sometimes scares people, and they think, well, I'm not a teacher, I don't know anything about this, but we have an amazing training process. So and we have a curriculum that is very easy for tutors to utilize. And so because we're motivating and empowering folks from their own communities to serve their own communities. There's a lot of heartfelt care that we get to express, and also meaning we get to bring to our lives, and that of course there's a direct impact on a direct person. So this one-on-one tutoring model, once a week in the classroom is how the curriculum is shared. And so we partner with our schools and teachers to identify which kids need this program the most. We serve kindergarten through fourth grade kids who are either 6 months to 2.5 years behind grade level. So big, significant, some of these kids are significantly behind. And yes, COVID is a huge barrier, but I would say another big barrier for us is being able to communicate with the districts and at the state level to be able to identify which schools and where we would have the most impact. We don't have that bigger, higher level view that a district has or that the state level has. And so with their guidance, it would make more sense for us to be working directly with them in order to identify which schools are the most, where we would have the most impact, or where is high impact tutoring going to be the most useful, where are we most welcomed because there is a great need, and or because there's a teacher population that's really very proactive and very much wanting to have that supplemental support. So the schools that we are in, 100% of teachers and principals are thrilled to have us and see us as a value. So where we can be serving more, I would say one of the barriers, or one of the things I'm looking for, especially early in this role, is guidance from districts and from state level to be able to identify where's the greatest need and where can we have most impact the most quickly.
Mm-hmm. And so how the ways that people can help you from the community outside of the district, and I think you spoke to this when you were sharing about how these mentors or those people that are connecting with the kiddos are truly invested in it because they're from the community. Is that the main way that people can contribute or support some of the efforts of Reading Partners is by becoming a mentor, by becoming a volunteer? Is there another avenue that they can be there as your boots on the ground kind of backbone essentially here in our local markets?
Really so many ways. So yes, individuals, we're called Reading Partners for a reason. We know that we're not the ones to come in and change everything, and it's not one leadership model that's the only way. We partner in our communities with, yes, individual tutors. So, and if someone is motivated to tutor a kid this coming year, you can just go to our website, readingpartners.org, and click volunteer and go through the process. It's quite easy to get all the things taken care of so that you can be in classroom with a student this year. The other ways, though, of partnerships is that, maybe your business, this is a chamber. Maybe your business wants to do some community service. We can partner your business with your school that's nearby, or one of the schools that's most needing some support, to either financially support that school, or you can be bringing tutors into the school. We have a program called Tutor for a Day, and you can come and bring your staff in to tutor. So partnering with businesses, and we have large partnerships with large corporations, but also small businesses that can come in with their staff, even if they have a staff of 3 or 4, and you just really want to, show that your business wants to be part of the community. That's another way. Of course, we do accept financial donations. Every small donation matters. And of course, if your business wants to make donations too, you can sponsor this program and, really align with making sure that we are creating a workforce for the future that is well versed in being able to not only read, but read well and really enjoy reading.
Absolutely. And what I've done is, you were sharing this, is actually quickly get that link that you were referencing of where they can find out more information. That's been included in the chat section for them, readingpartners.org. And it speaks to a lot of what you were just sharing with us, Melissa, the volunteering and time, the donating and directly to services, but it even goes further and talks on some of the other ways of starting fundraisers and directly supporting through the material that's needed for those classrooms. So
every classroom has its needs. If you're don't want to get into the weeds of that, we can, certainly take the time to educate you. You can come to a site visit. You can, just connect with me. I'm always happy to talk about books and reading any day. So very, very open about making sure all of our stakeholders feel like they can just connect with us and have those conversations. So, and another thing I'll just throw out there is that, a lot of the members of the chamber and people who are maybe tuning in, we are a nonprofit organization. So if you're looking for a leadership role and want to be on a board of directors or one of our committees, I mean, you want to be really committed to making a huge difference. I mean, a 2-year commitment on our board would be a real gift. So we would love to chat with you about that. If this mission feels like something you can really get behind, happy to have the conversation and see if that might be a leadership role you'd like to add to your portfolio of things you do.
Of course. I love just the numerous ways that people can plug in and support what you're doing and the important work that you have going on. We've got Ann Hogan that's tuned in also with us, who is sharing what a great service this is. And I think that speaks in a nutshell to a lot of what I'm gleaning from this broadcast. We've touched on a number of things that you have been able to share with us, the services that you offer, ways that folks can support you, impact you're presently making, and then your expertise that you're bringing on. Was there anything that I didn't ask you today that you were really hoping to get across for folks that we can include before we start wrapping up our conversation together? It always flies by, but I always try and create that avenue for if there was something that I didn't get out there that you were really pressed to share with folks, then now would be the time to do so. And of course,
yeah. So the last thing I wanted to say is, first of all, just a little bit more about our impact. It's nice to know too that we are serving over 500 students right now, and of course we do want to expand that, and the organization is scaling in a way that will hopefully allow us to be reaching into districts and rural areas that don't have access to so many things that we have here in the metro region. And so having a virtual option to tutor and receive tutoring is in the works. It's already happening in other parts of the country. And so we're planning to bring that here to Colorado. So if you're sitting there going like, oh no, I take care of a elderly parent, or I have a full-time job, there's no way I could pull out an hour of the day, this is going to make more options for you. So I definitely suggest you follow us or get on our email list so that you know that when those opportunities come up. And also wanted to let you know, 81% of our students are reaching their literacy goals. So that was our just want to make sure you're clear. This is an evidence-based program. It's based on the science of reading, and it works. So this is so nice that we see a problem that we can actually solve. This is a solvable problem. And it just means that as a community, we need to come together. We need to realize that this is a goal for all of us to be behind. So making sure that you're clear that we want to partner with you in order to make sure that our future kiddos, I mean, there's kiddos who are, wherever they're at today, pretty soon they're going to be in a classroom and they're going to be ready to be learning. So, and you can be part of that.
That is awesome. I love, and I will anticipate that virtual component once it rolls through. We'll be able to share that out with our viewers and even folks that are subscribed to some of our newsletters and outreach opportunities. If you are not already engaged with us, you can find us on all things social media on Facebook. Of course, here we're streaming live YouTube, where we're streaming live. We're also on Instagram and Twitter, but we will be sharing that message out, of course, on our Westminster Chamber Business page as well. So continue to tune in. Reach out if you do have a question for Melissa or myself. If you ever have a question that you don't feel comfortable either typing into the comment section for others to see, but it's more of a private question for you, you can always DM the page. We do have those occasionally happen and come through, and we love those because we know that everyone's a little bit more specialized, and sometimes when it's personal, you don't want it out there. So you can DM the page, you can give us a hashtag replay for no longer live, and you thought of a question, or you think of a question later on and you didn't get a chance to ask us that question later. We'll get that over to be able to get that answered for you. Of course, today we had with us one of our newer partners, Reading Partners. That's a member of our organization, has been for a couple of months now, and has been making a significant impact in our community. Some of those stats are included in the chat section for you. The ways that you can partner with them or support them can be found on their website by going to readingpartners.org. And then the final piece that I want to share is I do know that we at least have one or two folks that are within our organization that have already been providing some sort of a mentorship or assistance, or have reached out to your organization, and their feedback has been very, very positive. So very much appreciative.
Thank you to whoever these people are. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Part of the partners.
Yes, absolutely. So I thank you for going on this journey with us, allowing us to be a part of your efforts to really make a positive impact. Education is the key to success and to bettering our status in life, and for everyone to have that opportunity. It's so important. So I thank you so very much, Melissa, for being on here with me. And for all of you that have tuned in, whether you joined us and hopped off or are coming on later on, this video is available to you to rewatch, rewind, and replay. And we'll be back on here, of course, next Monday for you all with a quick update on everything that's been going on in City Council, which has been quite a bit over the last couple of weeks. Melissa, I'm going to give you back the rest couple of minutes of your morning, and I can't wait to bring you back on here in the future to continue to share those updates, okay?
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you to the viewers who are seeing this later. We look forward to partnering with you.
Thank you.